Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
Guys, how you guys all doing on this Sunday evening? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and this is my review of this past Friday night's episode of Friday Night SmackDown. It was the July 12th, 2024 edition of SmackDown, and it took place in Worcester, Massachusetts. It was the Fallout show, of course, from Money in the Bank. And, of course, the first episode of SmackDown on the build to SummerSlam. My overall thoughts, though, after a fiery hot episode of Raw and the huge hype for SummerSlam that's been teased since WrestleMania, the stuff they set up for, like, right after WrestleMania, not gonna lie, SummerSlam's still looking good, but I feel like it's toned down a bit. I feel like there's still whoever CM Punk fights, like him or Drew McIntyre, or him and Drew and Seth. We still got, of course, a match from SmackDown. I'm probably excited about it. I've been dying for a long time. Logan Paul versus L.A. Knight. Yeah. Other than that, though, like, I'm not saying the matches are bland. It's just, there's not as many big, like, must-see, like, hot match that I'm, like, jumping out of my chair for right now, it feels like. Because right now, we have our two world title matches. Looking like it's going to be Cody Rhodes and Solo Sikoa, and Damian Priest and Gunther. On paper, those are fine matches, but with SummerSlam supposed to feel like the year's second WrestleMania, especially in 2 years when it goes to Minneapolis, it's supposed to be a 2-night event. So they're trying to make SummerSlam, they've always been trying to make SummerSlam as big as WrestleMania. Does those really feel like matches meant for, I mean, it feels like matches meant for, like, a B show. Like, don't get me wrong, they're fresh talents trying to get in a shot at one of the bigger events, don't get me wrong, but, you know, I guess especially Cody and Solo. I've been saying for a while, Solo Sikoa, I think, again, I love what they're doing with Solo. I love they're making him, like, the new tribal chief, you know, aggressive, much more aggressive, you know, tired of losing. It's like, you know what? Things are falling apart. Well, I ain't taking it anymore. I'm doing things my own way. Forming this new bloodline with Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Jacob Fatu. You know, I like it, but I feel like I should be loving it, and I feel like I should be looking at Solo as the guy who should be dethroning Cody. The problem is, though, have they really done enough to make up for Solo and his bland booking since he beat John Cena and all the losses he suffered that just derailed him big time? Probably because, again, the Bloodline storyline with Roman Reigns, let's be real, I know they were trying to get to WrestleMania, but I kept saying when we got this after SmackDown, it feels like they're going into stalling mode. And again, unfortunately, even though we had some great booking in the time being, the Bloodline storyline did suffer. And Solo Sikoa did suffer. he does not feel like the strongest member of the Bloodline, if I'm being honest. He feels like someone that I could still see vulnerable. Someone that I can't see beating Cody Rhodes right now. And there have been rumors for a while, which is why they waited for a while to bring in Jacob Fatu. The rumors of WWE wants Solo to be the main villain, but they're afraid that Jacob Fatu is going to outdo him. And I hate to say it, I feel like he already is. In the ring, at least. Now, on the microphone, Solo's been cutting some good promos, speaking a lot of truth. But it's kind of like what people said about Bray Wyatt. Great, behind the scenes. When it gets to the ring, though, what does it look like? Like, I hate to say this, but Solo feels like, I wouldn't say he's a chicken shit heel, but he feels like one because he can't, you watch him fight, and unless he gets help, he can't win a match. And that's not good. Solo Sikoa should not be that heel. I've always said, someone like The Miz, that would work for, and a few others. But someone like Solo Sikoa needs to be literally an intimidating guy that, can't be beaten because he's just a monster. And the face who dethrones him eventually exposes that Achilles heel. Which again, I think I said in my Money Maker review, if Solo would beat Cody for the world title, the person I think if it happens, I still don't see it happening. I don't think it's happening. But if Solo would beat Cody for the title at SummerSlam, I think the person that should dethrone Solo is Kevin Owens. Again, he has feuded with the Bloodline for almost 4 freaking years. And even though, yes, him and Sammy did beat them in the tag match at Night of Champions last year, I feel like Kevin as himself, one, long overdue, deserves a singles title moment. And two, I think it's long in coming that he gets his comeuppance on the Bloodline. And Solo has been one of the bigger thorns in his side for quite a long time. But, like I said, it's just, again, SummerSlam is just, it feels like the big punch that was supposed to be there, for some reason, has dwindled off a wee bit. And this episode of SmackDown kind of, exposed it a little, I feel like. But I talked a lot about I've already talked about, the main event match that's probably for SummerSlam, Cody and Solo, unless they do Drew and Punk, which I think that should be the case, especially if they go unsanctioned. That should be the match they do. But, let's just talk about the show. Again, I don't even want to say too much about it. There really wasn't much that really happened. Surprisingly, the stuff I like the most, well, kind of course, is what they did with this opening segment with Tiffany Stratton. So, Tiffy Time came out, as she's now Miss Money in the Bank. She talked about how she's become the youngest Miss Money in the Bank, and she was the real star of the show. Trish Stratus, though, is not here, and the women's title reign, and how Tiff can't ruin her moment. I mean, she mentions that Trish ain't here, and she can't ruin her moment again like she did at SummerSlam, which is still a tease to maybe a match between the two of them at SummerSlam. That'd be a nice way to put over Tiffany Stratton, if it happens. But she says, she mentions Bayley, Roxanne Perez, and Liv Morgan, how all should be watching her back. That her women's title reign are on Tiffy Time, and soon she will be the new champion. Well, then out comes Bayley. Bayley comes out, and she wants to congratulate Tiffany on such a huge victory, and she knows what it takes. She's impressed that she proved everyone right, but then Tiffany asks, what your point, and why are you here? Bayley says she don't care about what time it is, but she came here to offer some advice. Stratton's not having it, but then Bayley says she'll be the first to fail a cash-in a woman's briefcase if you keep up what you're thinking. Then out comes Bayley's challenger for SummerSlam, Queen Nia Jax, who has formed kind of an alliance with Tiffany Stratton recently. Which, of course, brings up the question, like, Nia's fighting Bayley at SummerSlam. Where does Tiffany stand as far as being Miss Money in the Bank? Nia comes out, and she goes, Bayley, what are you doing making empty threats out here? And they have a match in 3 weeks. And Nia plans on winning the title. Bayley says, you know this ain't Hugger Bayley anymore from NXT. This ain't 2017 Bayley that Nia put on the shelf. This is the Bayley who won the Royal Rumble and the title of WrestleMania. And the same Bayley that will embarrass Nia Jax at SummerSlam. Devil's advocate, though, what happens if Nia does win? Will Tiffy Time cash in on Nia? What happens then? Bayley wants to play Divide and Conquer and says that Tiffany's Nia's personal Barbie doll, but Bayley isn't a toy. She's a victim. And at SummerSlam, she's going to victimize her. And then, of course, when Bayley was getting more detailed into, what Tiffany Stratton could do to Nia Jax and cash in, she's like, oh, no, tries to interrupt saying, we don't want to even think about any of that. But anyways, Nia then shoves Bayley, and then at first it was a 2-on-1 beatdown. I'm like, okay, don't have to do a 2-on-1 beatdown and have Tiffany try to cash in and doesn't succeed or something like that. I was afraid they were going to do like a dumb move there where they'll beat them down, but yet Tiffany will cash in, which of course she teased later on, but we'll get that in a second. But then out coming to make the save, we thought it was going to be Naomi, of course, but she's occupied with Blair Davenport later on the show. So Mia Yim, who has a match against Nia Jax, comes out and runs him off with a kendo stick. Mia Yim and Nia Jax have another match, and Nia Jax won, as I expected. And it also seems like that Mia's not done with Nia Jax. Why are we still doing more and more Mia Yim and Nia Jax matches when it's obvious right now that Nia Jax is going to win? They're not going to have her lose this close to her world title match at SummerSlam. I don't think so. And again, I keep saying Mia Yim deserves a shot. She deserves to get built back up to being a more reliable contender, not just someone to eat pins. So why does she keep having matches with Nia when we know she's not going to win right now? Which bothers me a little bit. Also, during this, in between, before the match actually started, there was a Chelsea Green's backstage wearing a studded neck brace from her fall, which is similar to the neck brace that her husband, formerly known Zack Ryder, now Matt Cardona, wore in 2012. When he was involved in a few with Cena and Kane and Embrace the Hate and E-Tours and whatnot. But anyway, she was in line wanting to talk to Nick Aldis, which it was weird because they waited in line, and Pretty Deadly waited in line to pitch Pretty Deadly the musical. LA Knight did come out of Nick Aldis' office later on with a contract for the United States Championship. We'll get that later on. But apparently Nick Aldis wasn't even there, unless he snuck out a different way to avoid Chelsea. But if Nick Aldis was not there, then how did LA Knight get that contract? It was strange stuff there, of course, as well, too. I might be overthinking it, but anyways, after Nia Jax beats Mia Yim, Bayley gets in there and attacks Nia, but then Tiffany Stratton cuts her off, and they go in control. Nia then goes to leave, but then Tiffany sticks around and looks at the briefcase, and she decides she's going to cash in, but before the bell could ring, Nia rolled in, and she's like, what are you doing? And then Tiffany's like, oh, I'm not doing anything. Nothing. I was just, testing the waters, this and that. Obviously, again, teasing some tension between the two of them. Will, of course, Tiffany Stratton interfere at Nia's moment? Or will she stay out of her way at SummerSlam? I still feel like Tiffany Stratton should be someone having a lengthier run with the briefcase, though, if I'm being honest. But Trish putting her over at SummerSlam? Not going to say no to that, if I'm being honest. But after that, like I said, after that, wasn't really anything too special. A couple other things I like, but nothing too special. Solo has another promo sitting in his dark room. Says he's building a whole new family, more powerful than before. We also have Byron Saxton interviewing Andrade El Idolo, asking him what's next. But then Carmelo Hayes interrupted him, set up a match between the two of them next week, which that should be a pretty cool match, Carmelo Hayes and Andrade. Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin randomly teamed up against Angel Garza and Alberto Carrillo of Legado del Fantasma. Other than a few shots of like Corbin doing some crazy maneuvers just to show off that, hey, the fact that Baron Corbin has improved since he came back from NXT, which, yes, he has, but I don't know, it kind of felt like a job squad match versus a job squad match. Again, I like Alberto Carrillo. I love Angel Garza. Wish they would bring back his old gimmick and get back to his roots he was when he was in that first breakout star tour. People were viewing him as the next Eddie Guerrero. And Santos Escobar's cool too. Electra Lopez is a nice valet. But for some reason, Legado del Fantasma feels like a low card thing. Like, I saw this match, and yes, Legado del Fantasma won with Angel Garza hitting the wing clipper. Forgot about that finisher. I just didn't really like. I wasn't like, okay, good put up the heels, but I was just like, I wasn't feeling it. Like, something's missing from Legado del Fantasma. Again, they just feel like a low card act. And also, Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin team that felt super weird to me. I don't know if I'm still just getting used to Baron Corbin being a face or what, but who knows. So there was that match. LA Knight did leave the office, and he came out and basically mentioned that he came up short of Money in the Bank, but he also did something recently, and that was pin United States Champion in their triple threat match, which Nick Aldis gave him a side contract from him. LA Knight signed it, and we just need to wait for Logan Paul to show up to sign it as well. So that match basically might be official for SummerSlam, and Logan Paul will be at SmackDown next week to answer, of course, the challenge. There was also a backstage segment where Randy Orton sits with Cody Rhodes and basically tells him he got his back, and that Kevin does too, but KO had to stay home with his family because Kevin Owens' mother is not doing well right now, apparently. Naomi took on Blair Davenport. I like both these women, don't get me wrong. Something felt a little bit off about this match, I thought. I mean, it is Blair's first singles match on the main roster. She has only one of the triple threat, which I thought was going to get her into the Money in the Bank qualifying match, but it seems like she's having a little bit of a random feud with Naomi. Naomi won later, though. Blair tried, after Naomi chilled with Bianca and Jade for a second. Blair Davenport originally rolled up and told her, good match, but then Naomi got distracted, and then Blair attacked her. Okay? I don't know where that's quite going, but we'll see. We also had a rematch from last week's tag title match between the new tag team champions, DIY, taking down A-Town Down Under's Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. The match last week was excellent. When DIY won, it was excellent. This week, though, was a lot shorter, and it definitely was not quite as exciting. Of course, they did tease a couple, miscommunications, and, setting up more and more the fact that Austin Theory and Grayson Waller are probably soon going to break up. Whoever's going to be the face, I have no idea, to be honest, who's going to be the face for that. DIY do win, awesome. Again, the match wasn't even close to being as good as it was last week, though. But afterwards, though, Jacob Fatu runs in and beats down on Johnny Gargano and basically beats down DIY 2-on-1. Obviously, teasing as I expected. Most likely, unless they do Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu, or they could do the original tag team Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa going after the tag titles. which I think that is going to be the feud for SummerSlam, or, for the fall. The Bloodline and DIY. I definitely don't think DIY is going to be holding the tag titles for too long. But yeah, Jacob Fatu attacks them both, which then brings out the Bloodline to close the show. Solo just addresses by wanting to acknowledge him, and he talks about what happens when you don't acknowledge him. Jimmy Uso gone, Paul Heyman gone, Roman Reigns, we don't deserve him, and now we've got Solo. And if Roman comes back, Roman will have to acknowledge Solo as his tribal chief. But then they want to, of course, have Cody come out to acknowledge him. Cody came out and said he's heard everything, and they want the same thing. So he'll talk to Nick Aldis to try to get the match official. But it was up to Cody. He wouldn't be waiting until SummerSlam. He wants to do this now. And then Cody just basically goaded in a 4-on-1 attack, which was weird. Why would you do that? Randy Orton kind of trying to make the save, but instead they tried to make it this thing where Cody was tied up to the ropes and he had to watch his friend suffer. But then Cody's like, no, take me, not him. And I'm like, it feels a wee bit more over dramatic. Okay, basically if they're going to hold Randy as bait for something for Cody, I don't know. I felt it was supposed to be a very personal moment, and it just felt over dramatized. It didn't feel as personal or as meaningful as it did. It just felt I don't know. Like I said, this bloodline, yes, is deadly, but again, you still see through the cracks. Especially with Solo. You just see that, he hasn't been prepared. He doesn't feel like someone that you can believably see beating Cody Rhodes. And is that someone who you want to face your top champion at SummerSlam? I don't know. I thought the stuff they did with Cody and Solo was weird. And again, a little overdramatic, if I'm being honest. But yeah, that's all SmackDown was. Again, I still say the stuff with Tiffany Stratton and Money in the Bank was probably my favorite and probably the best told story. Everything else, it's kind of there. Well, okay, yes, and the idea of setting up Logan Paul and LA Knight at SummerSlam was pretty cool as well. But everything else, it's kind of meh, not feeling it. Not feeling it, but whatever. But guys, that's going to do it. That is my review of SmackDown. I'm kind of leaning towards giving this C+. C+, I say, give this episode of SmackDown. A couple things are good, but again, just not quite missing that oomph a little bit, if I'm being real, for SmackDown. For SmackDown, for SummerSlam. What do you guys think? You guys thoughts again down in the comment section below. Be sure also to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. You may also follow me on Twitter at the Club of the Man 93. Also follow me. Damn it! I keep forgetting that again. No Twitter, no Instagram. Probably till around SummerSlam. I will announce, of course, when those do come back again. TikTok, the Club of the Man 1993. That's the only social media page I have on the channel right now outside of YouTube. So until then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll catch you guys all later. Do not forget, in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. And for I am the man himself. And that is not just an opinion, my friends. That is a fact of life. Yeah!